What's up? All right. So today I decided to just jump right into users, get users all set up and running because they kind of tie into everything else from here on out. And so last week I talked quickly. I was thinking about what I was going to do, and I said maybe I'd start doing placeholders before users, that kind of thing. I'm just going to go for users. And the reason I hesitated was because I'm going to pull in a user pattern and I don't know the current production patterns status because I've been working on it in our development environment, which is going to be the production environment soon. But then I realized who cares if it's not fully done, I'll just finish it. So I'm just going to start by pulling that in. So I'll show the pattern, show how patterns work in general, pull in the user authentication pattern, which is something I made, but that I've been using for every project instead of rebuilding. And what it gives me is it gives me sign in and sign up for a bunch of different scenarios. Like if they have a password, if they don't have a password, if you want a waiting list, if you want to use Magic Link to sign in or password to sign in, password reset with like an email token. There's all these different scenarios. They're all like encompassed in this pattern. And the way the pattern works is instantly when you import it, you have users. You can put the password, if you use a password, you can put the password sign up, password sign in on your page, just copy those over and you have users, everything works. And so once I do that, I can choose to keep moving and now all my users will work. Or the next step you do with that pattern is you set up the magic link and the reset password and all the details that include like generating tokens and sending people emails and all that stuff. So I don't, depending on how long it takes, I don't know if I'll set up all this stuff today, but I'm going to at least get the users working so that I can move into comments, upvoting, stuff like that, where it'll be tied to the users, but users has to come first. So that's my plan. And like I said, it's fully off the cuff. So we'll see if I run into any snags. But what we can do is we can start by getting the pattern. So right now, let's see, I'll open my profile page. And like I said, we have a separate environment going right now. So this is kind of almost out of date, but these are a bunch of patterns that I've been working on that are available. Actually, if you have access to Builder, you could come to my profile page and use these. But a lot of these are better now than they are in here. So anyway, I've got a couple on here. The one that I need to use is called user authentication, and it's got some styles on it. You can see in that little preview, or I can actually open it. It's got some styles on it, and but mostly it's got the layout of elements I need and all the actions. And so what I can do, I clicked on that pattern, and you could actually, anyone can do this. So right now, can you see my profile if you don't have an account? Maybe you can see my profile, maybe you can't. I'm not actually sure. Profiles will be public for sure in this release coming up, but I think they're public now. But anyway, if you went to my profile and you clicked like I did on this pattern, you can actually play around with it in this read-only Builder Studio mode. So this is cool if you don't have access to Builder because you can come in here and play with, like you can click on the elements and you can see the tree of elements. You can see, like I can see there's an action attached to this element. So I click on it, I'll see the element, like everything's grayed out. Like I can't actually change, but I can read. So I can go to elements. I can see like on focus, we're hiding the sign in error message, that kind of thing. And I can, all these action groups are on the right over here. So I can look at what they are and sort of see how they're set up. So that's kind of cool just in general. That's not, I mean, that's a pattern general fact. But it is pretty cool. In this case, I know I want this pattern, so I don't need to spend too much time playing around with it. But if I didn't know, or if I was choosing between two different user authentications, here's how I could find how they're really set up and that kind of thing. If you're signed in, there's a button here to import this pattern into a project. So I could click this and then choose my project. But since I have a million projects, and because I want to show another way, I'm just going to import it directly. So I can also, from the other end, from inside the project, come to patterns. And then this section is not fully built out, but what I'm about to do works. So I go to discover, excuse me, have a pattern code, and then the pattern code, this will all be more intuitive in the future, in the near future, but this pattern code is the pattern ID, which I get right now from the URL of the pattern. So you can't see my URL bar, but I just copied a section of the URL and then I can paste it into here. And that's what a pattern ID looks like. It's actually a little longer in, well, a pattern GUID more specifically. It's a little longer in the new environment. But anyway, I can search for that and user authentication comes up. So this is my pattern, but even if I weren't me, if I were a separate signed in account, this user authentication pattern, you can import it into your project. You search for it, it comes up. And what will happen is when I import it, it'll create a new workspace that's separate of anything I've got going on. It'll give me all the elements, all the styles, all the actions that I need. And then once those elements, styles, and actions are in my project, I use them however I want. So for now, I import and just give the workspace a name. I'll actually call it user authentication pattern. And then it gives me the option to include data or not, which if I had a pattern with custom data structure, I would have to say yes here. In this case, users, the user's data and the user's table, that's all built in and I'm not doing anything special to it in this pattern. So here I don't think it really matters, but I'm just going to say yeah. And then it takes a second, but what it's doing now is it's copying all of those elements, styles, and actions into my project. Now what's interesting here, like I mentioned, is that I don't know if this will all work, and it looks crazy right now. Like it looks like the styles didn't import. So that might be a problem. Well, that would be a problem in real life. It might be a problem for us in this build, but I don't actually think it is. The thing that I want, and which I'll check if it worked in a second, is I want these actions. And the reason is there's a lot of cool UI stuff in this pattern. Like, you know, if you're on the email input and you press enter, it focuses on the password input. If you're in the password input and you press enter, it's going to submit. Like those little details go a long way. And I set them up every project, you know, until this pattern. Now I don't have to. So that's really what I want to see. And so if I'm on this page and I look over here, I do see all these actions here. Disabling the buttons, and let me just make sure they have stuff on them. So I'm guessing the actions did work, and I don't know why the styles didn't work, because I have used this before where styles work. But yeah, I can see right here that style class has no name, so something's up with it. Probably has no properties too. Very interesting. In this case, like I said, I don't think it matters because I was gonna redo all the styles anyway to match the no code list. The styles aren't the important part of this pattern. So I'll just move forward and I think we should be fine. The difference, as you can see, is, or one main difference is like there's a million of these sign in, forgot password, join waiting list. And that's because on the actual pattern, they're all here, but they're hidden. So if I were using this in real life and I just live viewed this pattern, in real life, it shows one state. So this is like this sign in with magic link state, but you could do sign in with password and it shows a different one. Sign up and it shows a different one, skip the password and sign up. So that's what all those different things are here. And I don't really, it doesn't matter to me. They're not hiding and showing. It's irrelevant. So this pattern and all its elements and stuff are set now. They're in my project. So I can switch back to the main workspace. Oh, that's interesting. I don't see a main workspace. Oh, I think it's a little frozen, still thinking. And I did confirm that only happens when I live stream, so it's not really a builder issue I need to look into. It's like a live stream issue. I need to figure out why. And one thing I realized is I have so much stuff running on my computer, I might as well shut it all down each time before I live stream, which I didn't today. What's going on here? But it seems, yeah, see, it seems frozen. That's very crazy. I'm going to see if I can just refresh it. Who knows? Maybe I'll refresh and all these styles will pop in too. I have no idea. We are heavily testing the new environment where this stuff works. So I'm not too worried about it as a bug either. I think it's just something that happened. Dude, this is crazy. Let me just do a new window here. Even my preview of what I'm streaming is so behind. So I'm pretty sure it's like my internet when I stream. All right, looks like it's loading in. Just gonna give it a second, make sure it's all loaded. Check here. All right, nice. So my workspace 1, that's the default workspace I've been working in. And then user authentication pattern is the pattern I just imported. And if you saw or remember from originally, I did import an Airtable pattern too to get all the Airtable actions. So that's what this workspace is. So I don't use these workspaces really except to kind of have a reference of what these things are, but I don't need them. So I'm going to switch back to my workspace 1, which I could rename to like main or main app or whatever, but I know what workspace 1 is right now. And so this is the app. And like I said, I have all these actions now and all these setups for signing in and signing out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy a page from the sign in, sign up pattern. And I'm going to move that page into no code list. And the reason I'm going to do it that way, you can do it a million ways as far as copying elements and actions and whatever. But the reason I'm going to do it that way is because if I copy a whole page, I get every action that comes on it by default. So, oh, look, the styles popped in. That is so strange. So I guess it's not an issue anyway. And these styles are here. So I'm in the no code list project. And for whatever reason, when I imported the pattern, the styles didn't show up at first, but they are here because they're showing up now. And let me just double check they have names and stuff because they didn't even have names. Yeah, it's all in there. Interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this whole page called Pattern Authentication Advanced. I'm just going to duplicate it so that I have it in here as a base, then move it into the main workspace. And I'll just set up the basics of it for now, but in the future, I would also do the same for like a reset password page because it has all these actions on it. I'll just duplicate the page, move it over into the workspace. That way it keeps all the actions, just like a little shortcut. So I don't need to do that now though. I'll start with this Pattern Authentication Advanced, which contains a bunch of things. Some of them I don't even need. Like I'm not gonna have a waiting list on no code lists, so I don't even need this, but whatever, I'll just send that over too. So what I do is I can come up here and I can do duplicate this page. And so it lets me give it a name. So normally like I might just call it copy or something, you know, if I'm working, but this I actually know is gonna be like the sign in page, sign up, sign in page for no code list. So, which actually right now on the no code list, it's called members. So let me think of what I want to call this because I'm just going to name it appropriately for that page. Right now, okay, so the URL is /members, and really all it's got is a little bit here. So I'll just call the page members, I guess. And we can always change that. Or actually, I'll call it like this. This way, it's just like the reason I care even at all is because when I'm working in the future and I don't remember these little details, I want to be clear on what page it is and where I need to go. So I'll just put sign in, sign up in parentheses. That would also help if this were a team project, which it's not. But if anyone else is working in here, they might not know members means sign in, sign up. So I just do that. Anyway, duplicated the page. It's there now. I can double check. If I click on it, it's got all the actions I need. And then I can actually when I'm selected on this page, I can actually just go move to another workspace and just go like this and move it into my main workspace. So now workspace 1 will have that page in it right here. And this page I want to be like a main no code list page. So I'm going to do a couple things first to set up real quick to make it main, which is like the base style class, the header include and the footer include. So I come into here. First thing I'll do is insert a component. Remember the component just inserts another page as an element. So for this component, I'll set it to the header. And then I can add another component for the footer. Okay. And then, so now I've got header, that same box from the pattern in the footer, and I just need to set the page body style. So all my root pages that have URLs, I'm changing their body style from the default. Oh, that's interesting. It's got a utility class on it. From the default to the no code list body style, which is body class no code list. And that's what gives it the font and the sizes and the yellow background, which you can't see right now in the studio, but it gives it that. So that's all set up. I'm going to come back and check what this utility class is and make sure it's nothing important before I remove it. Even I'm going to check, I'm going to refresh and check what it is. But the last thing I'll need to do to make this accessible is set up a URL route. And so on the current no code list, it's /members. I might actually do like /sign in or sign up, or maybe I'll do all three and they point to this page. I don't know. But for now, I'm just going to stick to the way it is and keep it as members. So I can go to URL routes and let's see. And then I have one in there for the homepage, which is /, and then for the individual tool pages, which is tools. And remember, the tool pages is dynamic. So really it works like tools /Airtable ID, and then it'll load that tool. But I'll add a new one now for members, I think plural. Yep. Members plural. And whether they're, well, if they're unauthenticated, I want to send them to this sign in, sign up page. If they are already authenticated, I actually don't want them to be at this page because it's sign in, sign up. So I'll just send them to the home page. Create it. And so now that just exists for me to test. So really the reason I did that was just to test it. And now this page should be all working. Oh, cool. Wow. Let me clear cache. It looks like a lot of stuff isn't in there because the header's not even in there. All right, cool. So you can see it's there and it looks like the no code list plus a couple of the styles from the pattern. So now I basically just need to change these styles from the pattern. And for now I'm going to eliminate, well, I don't even need to eliminate some of these options because we're in dev. But really, I'm not going to fully set up, like even the magic link stuff. I don't know if I'll set that up right now or not. But let me just double check. Okay, so this stuff doesn't actually work. Oops, what's happening? Maybe it works. It's frozen again, which is just so strange. It's very slow. Let me close some of these extra windows. I'm going to even close this Airtable database. All right. Looks like it's not firing the actions. I'm just double checking really quick, and then I'm going to go relink those actions up if that's the case. Yeah, I can't really tell, but I bet you they're just something's wrong with them. So if I come in here, I can just do a quick check in here in the studio. I'm going to zoom in real quick. So I have this sign in with password button I was trying to click. If I look at the action that it is, show sign in with password, I can go to that action. The first thing I wanted to have it doing, okay. So the first thing it's trying to do is add a class, and I see that class isn't filled out. So I don't know if it'll be easy for me to tell what class this is. I believe it's called, I don't know what it's called. You know, it might not be in there. I'll see if I can check here for the exact class. And if not, let's see. So maybe this wouldn't even have worked. So maybe when it copied these classes over, something was up with that. Let me see. So sign in with magic link is visible. Sign in. I'm trying to go sign with password. That's not visible. So let's see what classes we have. So it looks like we're probably trying to add container, hidden, sign in, sign out. We're probably trying to remove that from this class and it's not working. So if I go back, it's called container-hidden. If I go back into this main workspace and check these actions, there's too many of those. I'm just going to go through it here. Show sign in with password. Element, remove. Okay, so first we're going to add that hidden class to everything. Oh, okay, so I see. So it's not in any of these. So to test it, instead of going through step by step, because that's like adding it to 6 places, I'm just going to add it to this one place. So element, so the first thing it does here is it hides all the sign in, sign up options. And then depending on which one we're on, so we're trying to show sign in with password, then it would show sign in with password. The way we show it is we add container-hidden. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay. And so if I test this now on the members page, this should show it won't hide this, but should show an extra one. All right, sweet. So at least we know it works. It just for some reason those classes didn't get linked up. So I just have to go through and link up this class to each of these. So this one, hide all sign up, sign ins, is just, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 6 different options, 6 different ways to sign up, sign in. It's just gonna hide them all. So really I'm just going through and going container hidden, container hidden. And then after this, I need to go through and add it to each of the shows. But before I do it to literally each one, I think what I'll do is only do the ones I need, because I want to start this off to test it out, just to show the user's work. I just want to do sign up with a password and then sign in with a password. The reason is that those methods don't require anything else. Whereas signing in with a magic link, for example, it has to send you an email and you click the email and then it validates a token. So it requires linking an email. It requires setting some settings in Builder to pass the token into the email. And it requires a new page that validates that token. That's a lot of extra. If we use a password, none of that extra exists. They just sign up, they're in the database, they sign in, they're using their password, they're signed in. So for that reason, I'm going to start this off by, when you come to this page, it'll show, let's show the sign up first, and maybe I'll change that later, but we'll show sign up with password. So the way that we hide and show them in general is with this class. So the way I show which one shows up first is I just remove the container hidden from it. So I'll remove container hidden from sign up with password. And then right now, sign in with magic link doesn't have container hidden. So I'll just add that. So now we'll start with sign in, sign up. This skip the password link. If I were not going to use any type of sign up without password, I would hide that link. But in the future, I'm going to set that all up. So I'm just going to keep that there for now, but I won't use it when I test. But this link here for sign in runs show sign in with password. That's the action I'm going to need to update. So hide all signups we already updated, and we just use that same, it's a nested action. So I just come in here. Oh, this one actually had it on there already. Oh, that's the one I already fixed. And then, so when we do that and we're showing, so I'll show you. Easier to show than say it all. Oh, come on. Whoops. Sign up with password. Oh, maybe I need to do. Just need to clear my cache, I think. It's the same thing that was happening before. It's like as soon as I live stream, all this stuff goes crazy. Let's see if this is why. At least it's loading fast. Oh, that wasn't why. Okay. So if I come in here and I look at sign up with password, I don't see that hidden class. And if I look here, it's showing for me. So it's really weird that it's not showing here. So I can do this where I inspect element and look for it. Oh, that's interesting. Display grid. Oh, that's that class. Oh, maybe that's inline styles. I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, it looks like I just didn't remove that class. 311413 is probably the hidden class. So I bet it, like if I remove this class, it'll show up. Yeah. That's strange. I don't know why like it's removed in the studio and it's showing here. I'll just remove it and add it, see if that works, and try some other things. The point that I was trying to show though is when you click sign in and it shows the sign in page, there's one more link we'll have to change, which is if it's no account sign up, it probably is not going to work off the bat, right? So I just need to go fix that no account sign up link. So on sign up with password, extra links, there's a sign in link, and that does the action sign in with password. So I just need to add that class here. What? It's already there. Oh, Lord. So what I'm going to do now, because it's confusing that those classes say they're marked and things are weird, I'm just clearing off the local data in the studio just in case. And then if this either will show, like it won't show up in the studio and I can re-add the classes, or something else is going on. Even that's weird. Like it should have opened up to the workspace I was just in. Okay. This looks visible. And then this one that had the class in it, show sign in with password. Looks like it's there. I just changed it and re-added it, which is another kind of like tricky tip, because these actions, they're just writing JSON in the background. So sometimes if it gets a little messed up, and I can show you that JSON, every action just has JSON like that. If that JSON ever gets messed up and then you can change something and it sometimes fixes itself because it's writing the JSON. So sometimes I do that. If something's being weird, I'll just like change it. It rewrites the JSON, change it back. I don't know if that's going to help us in this case. I just don't understand. I just don't understand why it's different. So strange. Oh, I wonder if... No, I see that class in here. 11413, 11413. Yeah, they all have the hidden class. And when I remove this, I can actually watch these classes over here. So if I click sign in and it changes, I should see it add the class. Let me close this. I should see it add the class to the div I'm on here, and then remove it from one of these. So let me see if I do. Okay, we did. Added it to that one, removed it from that one. And then this one, if I click here, in theory, should do the opposite, but I don't think it's going to work. Yeah, it never removed it. And that is the action I was just messing with here, where we're saying remove it from sign in with password. So actually, maybe I can redo this. Let's see. Sign in with password. Like maybe the element itself was messed up. Actually, I could do like a click, whoops, a click off, click on thing. Didn't expect to run into this, but if I didn't, users, like we would be testing users right now and they'd be done probably because they're just gonna work. So this is a strange issue. But hopefully I can get through it in a second. Let's see. I forget where I was now. Oh, seeing if that's gonna work. So that works, and then That does not remove the class. So what I can do is I can just go just redo this action maybe. Remove class. It'll be container hidden, and it'll be sign in with password. And I can even like leave this one here. It won't affect it. The other thing that's weird is it's all having to do with this first one here. Whoops. I removed the totally wrong thing. It'll also do with this first one here each time. So maybe there's just something wrong with that whole element. Yeah, so strange, so strange. So I'm just going to delete that one I made for debug. I'm going to check this element now. So, oh, I guess it's the sign up with password that's not getting stuff done. So I'm going to add container, sign up, sign in, and I'm just going to add hidden and then remove it. I don't know. You never know. This is infuriating right now. I just want to move on. Like, I wonder what happens if I make sign in show up first. Well, we can see if it's just this element or if it's everything. Very disappointing. Seems to be everything. I think this might be something I have to take a deeper look at. I don't want to waste time just like putzing around here because I've never seen this before. And like I mentioned in the beginning, I actually did used to use this user auth all the time. The only reason I don't is I'm working in the dev environment mostly, so I don't. But like it should have worked. Something strange is happening. So let me see what I can do to get around it for now, and then I'll figure out exactly why later. So I think I don't know if I'll be able to test signing in and signing up. Let me see if this action is set on here, maybe I can just test it. Actually, before I do that too, one thing I can do is I normally, if you remember from the other pages, I'm always setting up a section with a container in it. And this one, since I copied the page, it doesn't have that. So I'm just gonna, before I forget, add in, come on, section. And that gets remove the classes that are on there and add the no code list section class. And then container, I could potentially use the container that's there and just give it the right class, but it's not a problem to have like an extra nested one. So I'm just going to re-nest container no code list and then move this into there. All right, so now I want to see if this button action looks like it'll work. Sign up with password. So I'm thinking this will probably work if I try it. And what this is going to do, so I'm going to try this right now. And what this will do is this will create a user for no code list. It's even though I just ran into problems, if you ignore those, like it's that easy. Like you import the pattern, you move it over, your users are working. And there's users is a data collection. Like you can have as many data collections as you want, but users it's technically a special data collection, but you don't really have to think of it that way. You know, it's in your data collections list. And when you click on it, you can add fields to it just like any other. Like it has some default fields that are for users, like this login ID, and it has a password field that's completely hidden. You can never access that. But for otherwise, you're just treating it like a normal data collection. which is pretty cool. It has a lot of benefits. So right now I only have the users collection because I didn't add any more. I'm going to add some more probably next live stream. But we've got users, and it has a special tab here called user list where you can actually see who's signed up. So once I sign up, it's going to add me with a login ID. That's my email. And then a password, like I said, you can't see, and it'll fill out, you know, when I created it and stuff. And then I'll see myself on this user list. And that's all it's going to do with that default, like right now. So the sign up with password action, basically I have the users data collection. I'm adding the email field. Oh, let's say I might need to fix this actually, because it's the element's empty. And then I'm adding the password from a field on here. And then that's it. It's just whether it's success or errors, it's going to run actions. And so the way that it works, this comes from the pattern again. You don't really have to know this, but the way it works is it'll try to sign you up with those, whatever's in these input fields. If it's successful, it runs this action, sign up with password success. And so you can put whatever you want in that action. In this case, I think it redirects to the home page. Like we'll go edit it in a moment, but you can put whatever you want in there. And then depending on what the action is, so this is sign up with password, it's going to get a set of specific errors and then kind of like a general error that everything else, that's kind of a bucket error, anything else can fall into. So if the user already exists, we're going to run an action called sign up with password user already exists. If something went wrong, that's the general error, it's just going to run that. Some of these sign in, sign up actions have like 6 errors, and some of them, like this one, has 2. So it just depends on the action. This one, if I set these inputs, should work, I think, and we should see myself in the user list or see whatever email I use. But I just need to link up these elements, and this actually might be correct because there's some element is set, but it's not showing me it. So I'm like, something's up, and I can check these stuff. Like I'm not gonna go very far into this, but I can check in the JSON. Actually, I can see which elements are set. So like for data field mappings, I can see for login ID, I'm looking for element with an ID 390.918, which in theory, that's this element here. Rather than use the IDs though, it's much easier to use Builder's user interface. So I can just come in here and select the element I need. And so each of these sections for signing up and signing in is its own div with its own emails and password inputs. So I just have to make sure that I'm in sign up with password email, and then I'm in the sign up with password. And so now that I lost my thing, this is sign up with password. And so I'll find the container I need. So this is sign up without password. And this is sign up with password. And then here's the email input. Email, and I labeled everything because it's a pattern. I was pretty meticulous with labeling. So this is labeled email input, sign up with password. And I take that value, that'll be the login ID. And then for the password, I can take the value of, I can go to sign up with password and take the value of password input, sign up with password. And so that's just gonna send those values to Builder. Builder's gonna do its thing, which is a special users case, and then send you back success or error. And well, I can walk through the actions I've set up. They come from the pattern, but basically the pattern, what it does is if it's a successful sign up, then it right away signs them in. So they're signed in, and then redirects them somewhere. And when a Builder user is signed in, like now they're signed in, there's some settings for session length and other things if you want to at some point make them automatically sign out, depending. But basically they're signed in. So across sessions, if they close their browser, like whatever, they're signed in as a user. And then that's where that URL routes comes in, where we're doing unauthenticated page and authenticated page. If they're signed in as a Builder user with that default stuff, then it's going to serve them different pages, whether it's signed in or signed in or not signed in, which is basically like a membership functionality. That's what that is, kind of built in. So I just set those. So I'm going to go try this now, and I'm going to have to manually show this box until I figure out what's going on. But then I'm going to type email and password, click create account, and it should work. Before I do it, I'll check what happens on success and make sure nothing's weird in there. So I go to sign up with password success. Um, oh, I see, I see, I see. So what it's gonna do is on sign up success. So let me run through this whole thing. It's kind of interesting. This action is sign up with password. The first thing it's gonna do is it's gonna disable the button sign up for this create account button. It's gonna disable the button, so it's going to, which is a nested action group here. So it's gonna change the property disabled, so you can't click the button again, and then it's gonna set the value to creating. So when I click create an account, it's gonna say creating and be grayed out, that button. Then I'm gonna create the user, and if it's successful, then I'm gonna change the button text. Instead of creating, it's gonna say signing in, and then I'm gonna run the action to sign them in. And so here, like, I do have to reset these inputs, it looks like. Although I can check if the IDs are correct. This is a stupid tangent. I hope it's not too confusing, but it's kind of like it's something that Builder allows you to do, which is novel. So that's why I'm going to go through. But basically, oh look, they didn't even show up in here now. So I bet you these are set. So if I go into the JSON and I look for login, oh, this might be the wrong. This is user sign in. I'm sorry. I'm looking for sign up with password. If I look at these elements here, all right, so they are correct now. I see the ID 390-918 for the email, for the login ID. So if I go to sign in with password, it doesn't show up in here, but if I look at the JSON, I do see, oh, 390-930. So it's a different value, so it's probably incorrect. So what I'll do is I'll just reset these. So this one, oh wait, is that, sorry, wrong action. Those might have been correct. The action I'm actually looking for is sign up with password success. Right here. This one, when it runs sign in, this is the one I need to check. If this JSON 390-918, all right, so what's happening here is like, I'll go reset these at some point so that visually it looks better, but these elements are correct. For whatever reason, the interface didn't update here, but they are correct. So I'm just gonna try this all. It should switch the button to creating, then switch to signing in, then sign me in, and then open home, which is an action that just opens the slash route into the current tab. So that's cool. So I'll be able to sign up. It'll redirect me to the home page if everything works. First step, I'll need to show this little okay, and then that's sign up with password. And so since this isn't sending an email or doing any type of confirmation, the email doesn't actually need to be a valid one. So I'll just go test1@test.com. And as I test, I can do test 2, test 3. That's what I do a lot. And then test as a password just because, you know, I could write anything there. So I'm going to watch the network because this is being a little weird, but I'm going to click create account. And like I said, it should switch to creating and signing up, then redirect us. So creating, signing in, redirect. Perfect. So now, and you can see like it's all correct, legit browser stuff. So now I'm on the homepage, but I'm signed in. And I don't know, because stuff's not updating, I don't have total confidence this will be updated, but in theory, I would see myself on this end users list. I probably need to refresh the studio. And then I would be able to sign in again. And the interesting thing at this point in the testing is that I just signed in. So if I went back to that sign in page, it would know I'm signed in and it would keep redirecting me to the home page. And there's no, like, I can't do anything to keep testing until I sign myself out. So it's kind of interesting. So I refreshed the studio. I'm just going to make sure that user's in there. That's the first time I clicked end users, but I can also go in through data collections. It's the same thing. If you're on the users, if you're on the users data collection, it's just this users list. If you click end users, it takes you right to here. So anyway, I see myself in there, so it works. So now I have my first user in the no code list project. And like I said, if I would go to the, I haven't set that yet. If I would go to the sign in page, it should redirect me to the home page because I'm signed in. So what I need to do is I need to make a way to sign me out, and I'll do that really quickly in the header. Basically, I want every page, I want there to be a way to sign out. And in the header, currently there's a drop down under membership for sign in, sign up, which would be incorrect. Like if I'm already signed in, this should say sign out. It should really be like profile or sign out. But I think right now if you click here, it's your profile, or maybe there is no profile. But what I'm going to do in the real version, this new version, is I'm going to have the membership drop down. If you are signed in, this will just switch to a sign out button. And if you're not signed in, you won't see the sign out button. So header class, or header component, which is this header page. Membership is a menu option here. This membership, this link, I think has nothing, probably just a blank href. And then a sign in, sign up, which is a link right now, is the pound. So this one we want it to go to members. Is it members plural? Oh, I might have actually entered that URL wrong the first time. I'm checking members plural, making sure it still redirects me, which it does. So this link will go to members, but what I can do is if you're signed in, I'll switch that link. I'll switch the text that you click on and switch the actual link with an action. So I can do that on page load. I can check if you're signed in and then I can switch it, but I'll create an action group essentially to switch the header to a signed in state. So it's a more broad action. Right now I'm only changing that link, but instead of making an action just to change that link, an action group just to change that link, I know that I could potentially do a lot of things in that header when they're signed in, like setting variables, removing variables when they sign out, all this stuff. So I'll make an action group called set state signed in. And then because I know that I'm going to, I'll make the opposite off the bat, set state signed out. And so what I can do is on the set state signed in, that's where I'm going to change the values of these. So the first thing I'll do is set the value, which is the text of the actual link. So I'll choose so I'm in menu. I have menu option for software, menu option for resources. So I go down to the menu option for membership, and then inside the drop down, I click this element and I make the value sign out. And then I can change that href value, which is an HTML attribute. So I can set attribute of this element, attribute href property. Oh, actually, this is not what I'm going to do. I'm sorry. So normally what I do is I'll change that href to whatever URL I wanted, but I'm not going to actually have a sign out URL. Although that is like fairly common. A lot of applications will have like a page called sign out. You go to that page, it signs you out, and then it does something. In this case, with no code list, it's like more or less a public site. Like you sign in to submit things, to like comment on some software maybe, but the pages themselves are public for the most part. So when someone signs out, I don't need to redirect them to a sign out page and redirect them somewhere. I just want to basically set the state to signed out and keep them on the page. So instead of changing this href attribute, what I really want to do is have an action that signs them out. And then at that point, I could do whatever I wanted if I did want to do more. But in this case, I just want to sign them out. I don't even need to refresh the page. I just want to sign them out, set the state to signed out. So the href won't be /members, although I could just make them keep that in there and make them redirect. But in any case, for now, I won't do that. So the href I'll actually remove. So I'm going to set the attribute of the href to nothing. That way it's not going to go to members when I click that. And then I'm going to add an action to sign out. So the user stuff, there's a ton of built-in user actions. The sign out is a user sign out action. I just run it. And so if they're successfully signed out, it'll run an action that's success. And if for some reason they couldn't sign out, which I don't even know what that would be besides something crazy, then maybe if they didn't have internet. But even still, I don't know. I don't know when it has a sign out error, but if it does, you could run an action on error. In this case, action on success. So if they're successfully signed out, I'm just going to set the state signed out. And so right now that won't do anything because we didn't make it. But I know that that's what I want to do. So if we come to this page, we have an action ready. It's not going to trigger yet, but we have an action ready to switch the state to signed in. So the last step to do this switch state thing is on this page load, we need to check if the user signed in. So this header is a page, and every time the header gets loaded into a page, it's going to fire the page load, and that page load action is going to fire the page binding action. And then page binding could get fired more often. So I'm going to actually put this check on the page binding. But I know every time that the page loads, it's going to always fire page binding at least once. That's how I know I can put it on page binding. So this is basically a check. We're going to say condition. And they have this built-in condition called condition user signed in. If they are signed in, we set state signed in. If they're not signed in, we set state signed out. And sometimes I wouldn't do that signed out state maybe, like if I didn't need to. Like, so in this case, the default we have set up is basically the signed out state. So I could make it so that if they're signed in, just switch state to signed in and do nothing if they're not. But in this case, I know I'm going to use that signed out later, so I might as well use it. So now if I refresh this page, this link, this dropdown should say sign out. Nice. And if I clicked it, it should sign me out. One thing I noticed is as I mouse over that, if you can see in the bottom corner just below my face, it kept the href value but set it to nothing. So it's trying to go to a link that is /null, null meaning like nothing in code. So what I actually want to do, instead of setting that to nothing, I want to remove that attribute. So I'll come into this set state signed in, and instead of set attribute, I'll do remove attribute. And I'll select the element from this dropdown, remove href, and then I can delete it here. And so now that's actually what I want, that'll remove the href. Before I keep going though, let me just set the signed out state so that we can test signing out and see if it switches the state back. So the first thing we'll do is reset that text. So we'll set the value of this drop down element to sign in /sign up, and then we will add the attribute back in. I guess I didn't use set attribute to add it back in. So element set attribute, select the element, of course. Attribute proper name is href, and value was members. And that's actually already hard coded what it's defaulted to. So I'm just kind of like setting that back. And then I think that's it. Oh, then I probably need to remove one more thing. So on the signed in state, when we set state signed out, wait, did I do that? Oh, I'm sorry. Jesus. Set state signed out. Actually, did I not set that? What am I doing here? Oh. I made a mistake. And actually, it probably signed me out. When I did that test, it probably signed me out. I forgot to actually, instead of saying when they click on this link, sign them out, I just made it sign them out right inside of the set state. That was an error. So I can actually remove this. And what I want to do is I want to set an interaction. So when I set the interaction, that's like adding an action to or an event, one of these orange events. So I choose the element, and the event is a click, and the action I want to run is sign out. So I actually have to make an action group for sign out. And all I do is run that user sign out action. And then on success, I set state to signed out. So here I'm setting the interaction on this element on click sign out. And so now when it loads the signed in state, it puts the sign out button there, but it doesn't run sign out. It just makes it so when you click the sign out button, then it signs you out. So if you sign out and then it sets the signed out state, I just need to remove that action basically, because I don't want it to, if you click that button again, I don't want it to sign you out, even though I guess that's where it would throw the error. It would say you're not signed in. That's kind of interesting. So here I'll set interaction. I wonder if there's a remove interaction button. I'll check, but I'll set click to nothing. I'll just leave it like this, which I think should work. So when I refresh this now, I think it did sign me out before probably, so I bet this is going to be sign in. Yep. And I'm already on the sign in page, but click it. I can annoyingly show this. I really hope I can figure out what's going on here. It's just so strange. Whoops. Sorry, just showing the thing I need to show. Although actually this is sign up. I'll just do a new one. So test2@test.com and we'll sign up and it works. And this time right away on this page, because we're signed in already now, this should already be updated to sign out. And now when I sign out, when I click sign out here, it should update this link to say sign in again. And when I click this link, it should not run sign out again, so I can check all this stuff. And then I guess that's it. So the first thing I'll do is click sign out, and I'll be able to see a network call when I sign out. That's why I opened that up. And I can see it already changed to sign in, sign up, which means it was a successful sign out. And see like what I mean by keeping the page the same. Like I'm signed out now, but everything's the same. And if I were filtered on here, they'd all stay. So it's a cool thing. And then now I just would double check that if I click this, it doesn't try to sign me out again. So over here on the side, I should not see a sign out action, and it should actually just redirect me to the sign in page. I saw an action there, but I don't know if it was sign out. But that seems to work. So I think for the most part, we're good to go on that. If there's a bug where it was trying to sign out extra, I'll find it later and fix it, but I don't think there was. Oh, perfect. So that's an hour, which if it weren't for that weird thing where the sign in, sign up boxes were staying hidden, if it weren't for that, we'd be all done and we'd be signing up, signing in, users fully working. So next time, which is on Wednesday, hopefully I'll have that fixed, that hide show thing, because that's random. Like I won't waste anyone's time fixing it live, but I'll take care of that. And then, well, technically I have a choice. I could finish off all the rest of the sign up stuff and sign in stuff with the emails. But what I think I'm going to do instead is start in on the software comments and software upvotes, because they need to tie to the user. You need to be signed in order to do those things. So now that sign in stuff's built, I can go proceed with those, which is what I want to do, and then finish off the sign in, sign up stuff after. So I think that's the plan. For next time. For today, I'm trying to just double check there's nothing small. Like I think I did everything basically. Created the page, pulled in the pattern, set up the basics, and then set up the menu. So I'll be good to go to try it next time. So thanks for watching, and see you on Wednesday. Well, you'll see me on Wednesday if you watch. And yeah, thanks for watching again. All right.